So what happens to my HECS debt if I die? The executor of a will lodge all outstanding tax returns up to date of your debt. And if the notice of assessment includes a compulsory HECS debt repayment, then that must be paid out by your estate.
See, so
Damn.
so it's fine then. Because if you have a property, but you haven't paid off your debts, it gets deducted from your property. Let's say if your next of kin is getting the money.
But what
But-
if you don't have a property, bro?
No, so then your debts wouldn't get. So
Yeah.
it's specifically states it's
From your estate.
So if you have any assets or
Assets,
estate,
yeah,
like
exactly.
then
So
yeah.
you die with no assets.
or do a Hakimi simulator, bro.
What's Hakimi?
Oh, bro, please explain. Please explain this. Hakimi might have found the solution, bro.
So July last year or August, I did my tax return, and it comes up with this like $4,000 bill or something or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's like $4,000 for HECS. I'm like, what the hell? Like, where did this come from?
So you didn't beat the system then.
Well, I beat it for 3 years. I don't know under what though. I don't know if it's a newly introduced thing.
No, I think that they were just being tax lenient, bro, for a period when this was around COVID. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they were being tax lenient where they weren't chasing up people because people were under stress.
No, so 20. Yeah, actually, it was almost. Oh, no, 2019 wasn't
That was
during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Oh, but financial year maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, they became
Maybe,
tax lenient.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
ATO probably didn't have enough jobs for.
So basically, I never paid my HECS.
Yeah.
I still haven't paid any since Carper Call days, which was like 2019.
like,
Sun legit
2018.
thought like this was for life, bro. You found a loophole or something, bro.
So you have to pay back.
Eventually, yeah.
Well, now I have to. Yeah.
But what if on your TFN or form you just say you don't have any HECS? How would they know?
No, that's
Bro,
for the
it's
employer to pay out.
within their system, bro. Obviously, they'll know.
That's for the employer, but
Yeah.
the ATO will always know you have HECS to pay.
Okay, sure. So you can't.
So-
really
Bro,
beat
the
it.
government will never not forget if you earn their money, bro. It's not like a thing
Nah,
where
I've
they were
seen
like,
people-
oh, you lost your papers.
No, they
They
can't.
do.
What happened, bro?
Go on.
A person I know,
Yeah.
he had fines, right? And he had a lot of fines. Like he was like he used to drive a lot. He used to get speeding fines and pretty much
It's the
only
same
speeding
person
fines.
I know too.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's this person, right? He had a shitload of speeding fines, right? And he would say, "Oh, I have no money. I can't pay. I can't afford to pay." And he would pay $20 a week or something like that, like
Yeah.
a very small amount. And he was like, "I don't give a shit. Like it's $20 a week. It's gonna take me years and years and years to pay, but at least I don't get the money. I don't lose my money." Right? So he's on this payment plan for ages, and then suddenly he moves states, right? And because of the way states work,
Yeah.
instead of moving to a provisional license
Yeah.
or a normal I think it was on provisional license at the
Yeah.
time, this new state didn't have that particular provisional license, so they just moved him to a full license.
Yeah.
And then he was like, because he read a rule where if you transition to a different state, you can't actually get the license until you pay off all your fines.
Mm.
And so he didn't actually get a license because they're like, you can't pay your fine or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think he tried again in like 6 months or a year or whatever. And they gave him a license. It's like, okay, just to double check, there's no like outstanding fines or anything.
He said no.
They said no.
Yeah.
And so thousands of dollars of fines wiped out. I think purely because it took because he was on he hadn't paid a lot of these for like years and years.
Yeah.
So they just
so
wiped
he
it.
stopped paying his $20.
Yeah, well, the idea is that at some point, actually, I don't know with this one, but for debt collectors, at some point they realize it's going to cost, A, it costs more to recoup the amount, or B, taking you to court over the amount is not worth the amount itself.
Yeah. Well, with the figures I'm seeing with HECS, bro, like I
Yeah,
don't think they would want to come back, and they would
Yeah.
they will bring the military in if people are not paying, bro.
Yeah.
Some I shared that article and you've already seen it, where some kid had like 700K HECS debt.
That is
can't be a
insane.
kid, bro. It has to be some old guy that studies
No,
just for the
but
sake of
bro, I
studying.
think
Because what?
how do you rack up 700K? What do you
All right,
study?
let's figure this out.
Yeah.
So your average bachelor's is 8,000 a year, right?
Yep.
Yes.
So it would take you almost 100 years to rack up.
No, I know like
$200,000.
you can take out loans to go on like exchange and that gets put into like HECS or whatever.
Does
Really?
it?
Yeah, like you can take out a loan and go exchange or whatever. And
Nance
that
was just exchanging for probably 10 years.
that or plus this guys
I
being
think
taken
about it.
advantage of by other people, bro.
Like a double degree would be around 70K for 4 years.
if it's like a major one.
So you
yeah.
must have done 10 double degrees, man.
Maybe he's one of those
Nah,
like
it would be
learner for
expensive
life type people.
PhDs or some shit like that.
PhDs don't go on HECS. You have to pay upfront.
Do you?
Yeah.
You can take out a loan which is separate, which has got interest on it. So for your masters, you can take out a loan which is interest based.
But it wouldn't be HECS.
HECS is like indexed based on inflation, so that's
no,
separate.
Is
yeah.
HECS for masters too, or you can't?
No, there's a separate loan which
Oh, really?
is tax on interest. Yeah.
So masters, you can't get a HECS
No, you can't.
now.
I think
or
no, it's been forever. I think.
oh
No,
shit.
you can get a loan, but it's not HECS. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I paid everything.
And it's
out
a
of
loan
pocket.
with proper interest rates and stuff. Probably.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't
So,
know that.
Yeah. That no, I wouldn't recommend no one to go down that path. But
Like
with
to
this,
to do masters or to
And
get our loan for.
Is this a
paymasters,
recent
yeah.
introduction, or is this guy definitely only done bachelors and exchanges or something? The
I don't
700
know, bro. They didn't disclose that much information, but this guy's clearly
this
an
wasn't
idiot.
just one off guy either. Like it's a whole list of people.
Yeah, the
Well,
top 10
obviously,
is like 250K plus.
How is that possible, bro? Was he
Guy's
studying
an
to be a
idiot.
doctor like 5 times?
Like I'm trying to think like what reasons it could be. Like you could obviously incorporate travel, like going on exchange, multiple degrees.
And you'd think with how learned this guy is, he couldn't get himself a scholarship.
No, I think he definitely didn't do accounting because his accounting is off. Bro. Like I'm just racking up, amount on my HECS,
Bro.
and then how do you pay that off?
Yeah,
That's like
'cause
you could bought a house for that, bro.
Yeah, because your repayments are percentages of your entire HECS. I found out today, right?
This guy's clearly not working then.
Yeah, he wouldn't be working at all.
Yeah, if it's
Or-
a
or it's
700K,
How would
cash-
he
but-
get
or it's a
time to
cash job.
study?
yeah.
It's a cash job. He's a tradie earning $500.
I know a
Maybe.
tradie would
Studying
be
philosophy on his
No
on the
tradie
side.
would want to be like a philosopher at the same time. Let's find the most intelligent tradie we know. He's probably the one with the 700K, whatever. But the thing is, like, once you die, if you have that outstanding amount left, it goes
Vanishes.
to your next in kin. So, like,
No,
does
it
it? No, it
doesn't.
doesn't.
No,
Yes,
bro.
bro.
Are you
No.
sure?
if you die, they will recoup it through somehow.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna-
It's
I'm gonna have a-
property rather than next of kin.
it's gonna
Let's
go to
say-
what?
Let's say if you have property, for
Yeah.
for example, this guy does, it will be directly.
No. But like on your HECS, you don't list down your property.
But our debts don't pass on in Australia. So if
No. With I'm pretty sure when I signed up to Macquarie University, I'm studying this. They asked the question, "Who's your next in kin?" And that's in.
no, I think that's just a disclaimer for.
Damn, bro. You
security.
should have put
If
sun down.
I would have put anyone down. It's like,
could
what's their
just-
TFN, please? What's their bank
I
account?
think this is just a disclaimer for security purposes.
So if you die, who pays it?
It'll be-
No one, it
just
should be
state
wiped,
pays it.
yeah.
It's-
So that's the loophole then. Just
Yeah,
not
that
pay
is-
it and
Just
die.
So this is honestly what I thought he was doing until.
What, he was just waiting to die and
Yeah,
then
I
not
think-
have to pay this?
Yes. So the thing is, though,
Okay, while you're talking, let me look this
So
up.
what I did end up doing was I asked my company office that I need to change my bank accounts, and reason for that was then I have to refill the TFN form.
and then you take no,
Yeah.
and so you stop paying.
Okay.
The salary hasn't changed. So I'm
Study
guessing-
assist. A deceased person will only make any compulsory help repayments for the period before their death. A trustee or executor will need to make these compulsory repayments. I think this is the other one. Help is the one I was talking about where like a master's student can get that out.
Yeah.
HECS, it doesn't say yet.
So HECS, you don't have to pay it off, but help you do.
So what happens to my HECS debt if I die? The executor of a will lodge all outstanding tax returns up to date of your debt. And if the notice of assessment includes a compulsory HECS debt repayment, then that must be paid out by your estate.
See, so
Damn.
so it's fine then, because if you have a property but you haven't paid off your debts, it gets deducted from your property. Let's say if your next of kin is getting the money.
Yeah.
But what
But-
if you don't have a property, bro?
No, so then your debts wouldn't get. So
Yeah.
it's specifically states it's
From
getting.
your
estate.
estate.
So if you have any assets or
Assets,
estate,
yeah,
like
exactly.
then
so
yeah.
you die with no assets. That's the.
Or
so-
you just give it to someone else, bro, before you die. You will.
when you know your time is coming, just sell off all your things.
Nah,
bro,
you don't
like,
even have to sell your will. Okay, now your will obviously will be a estate.
Yeah.
So I guess.
who you leave it to. Yeah.
I just change.
No,
property name.
just do your will before you die.
Oh, well, are you gonna do it after you die, bro? Obviously, bro.
No, sorry. I mean like do what you were gonna execute in your will before
Yeah.
you die.
Or do a Hakimi simulator, bro.
What's Hakimi?
Oh, bro, please explain. Please explain this. Hakimi might have found the solution, bro.
So there's a stud guy and a Muslim legend.
Moroccan legend.
I think so. During World Cup, he plays for PSG.
Yeah.
And he plays for Morocco. He's a right back, one of the best right backs in the world. He used to play for Real Madrid before.
Yeah.
Stud player. And during World Cup, he gained. I guess what's the opposite? What's the other word for notoriety?
Notoriety.
Notoriety.
Just became
Infamous?
like
he
just got
Infamous.
He got
applause.
respected, like so.
No, infamous is bad.
Nah, infamous
Yeah.
is bad. But he got respected for
What
like
the accolades he deserved, type of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he used to like hug his mom after every single game.
Yeah.
And Morocco was winning a lot of games, so there was a lot of cute reactions. He respecting his mom.
Yeah.
Most of the other players were like, kissing the wives, yada yada. And he's bringing his hijabi auntie on the field, hugging, embracing her. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
So Hakimi was famous for
His respect.
respect to his mom. Then 4 months down the line, he gets allegedly in what's the word?
A divorce. Or
Got
No.
an allegation on him.
Allegation on him
Yeah.
for raping some chick.
oh, okay.
Following that,
I
obviously,
didn't know about that.
so following that rape allegation, his wife gave him gave a divorce
Yep.
notice,
Yep.
and she wanted some kind of property settlement.
Yeah.
His wife's also a model, rich, yada yada. So she had a lot of stuff going for her.
Yeah.
But Hakimi plays for the biggest team in Paris, one of the richest players you would imagine.
He's like
okay.
22, 23. This woman's like 35, 36,
35.
who she's married to.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. All right.
But he's a stud guy. Like he
Yeah.
would have made a good amount of money.
Yeah.
So logically, you think she probably would be better off with this property split. Ends up happening. He doesn't own anything. Everything he owns is in his mom's name.
Yeah.
So all the salary he gets from
All the
PSG,
salary.
whatever,
Is
he
all
puts it in his
in
mom's,
his mom's
name.
name.
And she
Yeah.
gives him some kind of stipend to spend money as
Yeah,
he
yeah.
pleases. So he didn't owe anything to her because he didn't have much on him.
Yeah.
Because
So
none
the
of it
wife,
he actually
this was
owns.
the rude awakening. The wife found like, oh, everything is.
But
his
how
mom's
would the wife not know at all?
He
Like, what if he goes to pay for dinner? He's like, oh shit, I gotta call my mom. Like,
Nah, nothing.
Not,
Like
not
you-
that kind. Like his mom probably gave him
Yeah.
a few chains to go in. It's like, oh, you're going to the movies. Here you go.
just,
Oh, wow.
just medium-sized
Yeah,
meals.
Yeah.
yeah. But so that's the way to get around the estate stuff.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to pass on your HECS,
Yeah, just put on your mom.
Put it in your wife's name, bro. Leave it to her to pay it
your
off.
wife's name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that might be a thing, bro. But I don't know if that's like a solution, like, because that will take too much
It's a
trickery
dumb
to
solution. Yeah.
like formulate.
What's
And I don't think.
do you know what the average HECS debt is?
I would say like 40K. I think the numbers are
probably
looking
around
at
that
Makes
40K.
more
Yeah.
logical sense.
But so it's being indexed at 7.3% or something now.
As
right?
of
In
June,
line with
July.
inflation.
Yeah.
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 So that's going to be a
Previously
pretty
it was
hefty.
1%, wasn't it?
Yeah, like it
Yeah, it's
got
very
for the
low.
last couple of
This-
years because interest rates were low. There wasn't inflation as much. Yeah.
This changes so much then, man. Like we need it's in an interest to pay it off earlier than just
Yeah,
set a
that will be
salary.
the incentive, like for you to
But
pay it
what's
off
the
now.
need to pay it off?
So you don't have debt, bro.
Why does that matter, bro?
What if
Well-
you die? You take your sins, owing money, knowing you can pay for it, bro.
It's just the
Well,
government, bro.
debt can be good if you're using it for the like
Investment. yada,
investment or whatever. But if this is a debt which is a good debt, like you got an education out of it, which
Yeah.
is seen as a good debt. But a lot of people have stupid debts as well, where like they don't even need credit cards and they're getting multiple credit cards
Yeah,
to live
yeah.
off that and
Bro,
stuff.
I read it on like American subreddits all the time where they're like, oh, you know, we maxed out our cars, we're 29, we've got 100K or like 80K in debt, and we've got our student loans as well, and this and that. And I'm like, what the hell? Like,
I'm glad I'm in America, bro. They have next level student debt.
yeah,
yada.
that's
So 90K
Bro, forget-
is inclusive of the student loans.
no, not necessarily. Oh well, yeah, I guess so.
They're probably paying
Yeah, yeah,
some
yeah, yeah.
amount for
So,
that.
so
yeah.
in America, you got to pay for uni upfront, and if you can't afford it, then you take a loan.
Oh no, you don't have to pay like if you can afford it. Yeah, but it's better to pay upfront.
But
But
you
like,
gotta get a loan.
yeah, there's no
which is
HECS
against a
type.
bank kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But HECS is a loan, so let's put that straight.
Oh yeah, it's not. You be
It's a
through like
loan.
a professional provider rather than the government.
And it's
Sure. So there would be higher interest rates from
Very
straight
high
up.
interest
Yeah.
rates. Yeah, and minimum amount I've heard is
Well,
like 100K.
And is there
ours
some
would
kind of
ours is
criteria?
a pretty high interest rate now, I guess.
Yeah,
HECS.
it is. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Well, maybe
The
still not in line.
terminology is wrong. It's index rather
Yeah,
than
yeah.
yeah.
But-
But probably still not in line with what interest rates were if you were to get out a personal loan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So
But is everyone eligible for personal loans for this kind of education in America? That's the thing, because HECS is everyone.
No, you need to have good credit history, all that stuff. So like
I
if you have bad credit
What about
history, you don't get.
if you don't have any credit history, but your parents are poor or live in some.
I'm pretty sure, that's the thing where a lot of what they blame universities and like these providers over there is like there was a period where there was no background checks being done and the kids were being taken advantage of. They were being put into debt which they didn't understand. So loans were being given out to them when the
Didn't
banks or
understand.
whatever should have done a review and said
yeah.
you can't. This is not affordable for you. You need to find other ways.
But is it determined on base of the degrees you do? Like for example, if you're studying sociology, and you're taking whatever HECS equivalent is,
Yeah.
that's stupid, bro. So does the bank interfere and be like,
just
you know,
capping on all sociology
yeah, like,
graduates, bro.
so the
Yeah.
bank says, I'm not going to give you a loan because I know you're
Nah,
not
I think what the banks were doing is like they didn't really look into these things. If you want a student loan, oh, here it is, without
which
doing.
isn't a bad thing either.
No, but like, okay, we get it. Like, you need to be smart enough. The bank is obviously going to be looking at the profit or whatever. But if you're an institution that prides itself on like, oh, we're helping the people or whatever, and you still do shady
The
stuff
thing
like
is,
this,
if you have an 18-year-old kid coming in for a loan, which will be the age most
Yeah.
people would be coming through, they wouldn't have much history. They don't have much to work with.
so
So
yeah,
how
you're
do you-
saying that they don't have a credit history. So what are they really assessing
Exactly,
in
this
giving
is
them
my
that?
thing.
Yeah, like yeah, families, financial history, stuff like that. Yeah.
But that should not inhibit someone to study, though. That's my thing. Like, I mean, ideally, yeah,
Go
you
tell
don't-
America, bro.
Yeah,
Bro-
America's always going to be capitalism first. Like, if you need the money, we're going to give it to you. They don't really care. They will recoup it some other way, whatever. But if you're working as a responsible institution or like a bank or whatever, and if you want people to be putting your trust in you or whatever institution is providing that money, you would have some measure in place to like, what's it called? Verify that these people can pay it back in the future. They're just banking on that this person will eventually get a job and have to pay these off. But by the time they start paying it off, it's gone up to 200K rather than 100K.
Bro, America's hypocritical though.
Obviously, bro, it's America.
Yeah,
Like they make the government makes you pay all these loans and stuff for the bank institutions, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And America's 32 trillion in debt.
Well, they will just go to war and say we'll drop a nuclear bomb on you. That's their way of getting out of it. A normal person doesn't have a nuclear bomb they can drop on the
So-
government.
Just to re-understand what you said, $32 trillion in debt.
yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of that
To?
is to China. A lot of it is owed
To
to
other
China.
countries, yeah.
That's
32
Yeah, but
trillion.
all countries like
Can you
Pakistan has debt.
imagine-
Right?
Pakistan, I can
32
imagine. I don't need to use much
Can you
visualization.
imagine $32 trillion?
No,
That's
but,
that's 999 billion 32 times.
Okay, so you know how like America has like a big history of like putting money into like military, this, that, the other.
Mhm.
People's taxes is not just paying that. Even though you have 350 million people, the people who pay taxes, not all of them are going to be paying taxes. A lot of them are young kids or older people. Some of them are illegally
Rich
living
tax
there,
exemption,
whatever,
yada,
right?
yada, yada.
Rich people avoid taxes. You're not going to accumulate enough money to propagate that military that they have. So they borrow money to put that up. That's
Bro,
why they set 32 trillion
At
in
this
debt.
point, it's monopoly money. I don't care what you.
They just make up money.
So this is where India, you know the new currency, what's the new currency called? The Russia-India bloc?
Oh, it's not. They're just paying in each other's currency. Or they're making a new
They're
currency.
making a new currency.
It's
so
called the BRICS. I don't know
BRICS,
if
yeah,
they're.
exactly.
if
that
they are
one,
like, yeah. So
have you heard of it?
Isn't that a
BRICS.
drug?
they're
I
like,
got 3 bricks on.
yeah, so yeah, cocaine. I think if you like
Yeah,
lay it
yeah.
out as a brick, it's, that's what
to
it's.
move away from USD, China, India, Brazil, Russia, and South Africa are making a new currency. There will be replacing
But
USD.
for what purpose?
To buy and
to-
sell petrol and like other essentials. So rather than paying in US dollars for petrol, they want to pay in this, so their currency becomes more valuable.
Because they're trying to battle US inflation. Because US is just printing money out.
Yeah.
now.
A lot of US's value, the US dollar's value, is in the fact that it's used to buy and sell petrol,
I-
which is a key
I remember
commodity.
seeing an infographic where US printed more money in the past like 3 years or 5 years or something compared
Yeah.
to like the past like
Dude,
50 or some shit.
Yeah,
prior
it's
to
like
or some
the
shit.
Economic term for quantitative easing.
Yeah.
Australia historically we didn't do it,
Yeah, yeah.
where we like interest rates are so low that they just started pumping or creating money, so there's enough supply of it in the
You've
market.
never done it, or
We hadn't done it for a while, but with COVID, we had to do it
Yeah.
because we didn't have enough in our budget. So that's why our taxes are going up. That's why inflation is very high at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
moment, because there's just so much money in the market at the moment because they gave like
COVID. What was
what-
it?
stimulus checks or whatever.
Job
they're called.
seeker,
job
job
seeker,
keeper.
whatever.
Yeah,
So
all
they
that
had
shit.
to make that money up. People's taxes wasn't enough to pay for
Yeah.
that. So now there's so much money out there. They're raising interest rates, so it becomes harder for people to borrow money, and that will bring down inflation eventually, cost of inflation
Yeah.
and stuff. So that's the idea. But I get like
so
in
this is good for economy on a long-term basis.
yeah, we need to have high interest rates to bring
Yeah.
down the inflation for sure. So I get when people like Australians, I think we have like some of the highest like debt to income ratio in the world.
Mhm.
So the amount of income that we make, our debt is like nearly double
I
that.
think it's a property.
Property is
should be-
50% of the debt we have
What
on
is
our
the
books.
rest?
What makes up the rest of it?
Yeah.
Probably HECS definitely is up there. Credit cards, car
I
financing.
don't know what
stuff like that.
obsession. I don't know why Australia is so obsessed with property.
I think because of
And investing in
migrant culture. Because think about it.
No, but it's been before the migrants as well.
I don't know, but like everyone, if you go to any Desi event,
Yeah.
all we talk about is property. The ones I've been to,
Yeah.
property, interest rate, like
I don't think that's only Desis though, but I think part of that reason is the migrants who came here and bought properties are the ones who are doing really well now 10 years later. Because like we know of like uncles and stuff who've bought a lot of properties and have a massive portfolio and they're doing really well for themselves. And every Desi uncle and their dog and mom and parent and whatever, they're like, you know, in their head, they don't understand, like they don't have, most Desi uncles don't have financial literacy in terms of stock market, in terms of, because there was a lot of barriers to enter that back in the days. So property is something that's very easy to understand.
And it's something we know from back in the day. We all have land. We all have this. So yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
And it's considered like gold in Desi people culture, like where properties you can never mess it up, even though that's a lie.
Yeah.
You can mess it up, definitely. So an average Australian household, what do you think the average income is?
92,500 per person.
What do you think? Per person.
Per person.
What is wrong with
92,500.
Well, it depends.
Isn't that the average income in Australia?
Do you know if it's
What do you think it
average
is?
including part-time casual workers or if it's average?
Yeah, just average household. So the amount of households there are and the total income.
200k.
Let's say 120, 130.
So I mean, like, how big is the family? Like, for example, your family has got
Bro,
like
you guys are way off.
six people working right
Yeah.
now. So your average income will be very
No. But that's your just household. This I'm talking about all across Australia. Obviously, people live in rural parts of the town.
Okay, now
All that included, bro.
So I'm
Some
saying
people
how
don't
many
have
people
kids.
are earning in this family, average family?
No. You're looking at it from like one family. I'm saying all across Australia.
It's just a couple combined all up.
It doesn't
could be
matter,
anything,
bro.
bro.
It's
There could be
household.
single
Household.
parent.
But
Yeah.
most instances will just be a mother and father.
110k.
What do you think?
I
it
said
is?
120.
Oh, it's 46,000.
No chance, bro. I don't-
No, bro.
Okay. According to the
I need some
research,
resources, bro.
Aussie households have a 86,000 worth of household debt compared to 42,000 in household disposable income.
Oh, disposable income.
What do you think I said?
You said
Income.
Income.
Disposable income
is different to
Nah,
income.
it's different, bro.
Come on,
Nah,
bro.
What's the difference?
Changing
Right,
goalposts, bro.
he's
Changing
changing, bro.
goalposts.
This
What's the
guy's
difference?
not an economist, bro.
Disposable income. What do you mean disposable income?
Disposable
mean?
income means
It's
money
after
that you can
tax,
spend
after everything you
after tax, after
and
rent, after bills.
net minus expensive is your disposable income.
Okay. Even if you factor that in, it's not 100k people are earning. An average Australian earns like 70k.
Nah,
bro.
it's 92,500. I looked
Nah,
it up.
It's like 70k, bro.
Nah, bro.
For household income.
Yeah. An average person isn't earning 90k in
No, no, no,
Australia.
Average
no.
person that
That's
works
not-
full-time job is making 92,500. Look it up.
That no, but he's talking about average person. You're talking about average household.
Yeah.
So, person should be more. Okay. I'm
No,
talking
but
about
the
Okay.
thing
average
is,
person.
bro, you don't understand. Some women don't work. Some are on maternity leave.
I'm
some are
saying
working part time.
everyone that
Okay,
works-
average person is obviously different. That's
Average
what I'm trying to
person
say.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
works
Yeah.
full-time, 40
Yeah.
hours a week.
So if you have
whatever.
two people on average incomes, both working full time, then sure, 180k. But not everyone's like that. People
Nah,
having
so
kids.
I'm
people.
not talking about household. I could be off, but
Yeah,
I'm
average
saying
person.
average person that works 37 hours.
Okay, I've
be
probably
making-
confused you guys. What I meant was disposable income, 42,000. That's the disposable income Australian households
and
have.
debt is double
Decent,
that.
bro.
That debt is like
Holy
86,000.
shit.
And a lot of it is obviously mortgage. 55% is like people's debt is based
Yeah,
in
yeah,
mortgage.
Property
yeah.
prices are messed up in Australia. America, for 350k, you can get a good house in Texas somewhere. 10 minutes from city or whatever.
But are people earning that much in the US? An average American doesn't earn as much as ever an average
But
Australian.
I think with currency parity, I think we don't earn as much either. Like, what is 100k USD? AUD to USD?
Isn't it like 140?
Yeah.
No, I mean like AUD to USD would be around 70k something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
70k should be common.
No, but like American wages aren't the same as Australian wages. That's the thing. Bro, people in America are poor, bro. There's parts of America which are like
No,
poverty-stricken.
I think the disparity is huge.
Yeah.
But you can get paid a lot in America.
Yeah. But you need to be skilled. Like
Yeah.
not everyone's
Yeah.
going to
skilled
be skilled.
skilled
labor.
people get paid a lot in America.
that is true. I think
The
in
average-
Australia, retards can make good money just doing whatever we do.
Yeah, essentially.
What do you classify
Like
as that,
like-
bro?
Go- have-
Personal experience, bro.
Yeah.
yeah.
Especially in government.
Yeah.
True, bro.
So, and then the next after mortgage is like investments. So 30% of like a household's income goes in investment. And I don't think so. That's not a lot of people invest in stocks, obviously, and other like,
You
you know,
reckon that's property though?
no,
like
no,
investing
the
in property?
mortgage it might be an investment other than the current mortgage that you're paying off. So it might be an investment property,
Yeah.
which is slightly separate, but it could be, stocks and ETFs and
I
whatever.
find it hard to believe that 30% of people,
I think it would be second property.
30% of income, sorry,
30% of people's income is going into that.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
I find that
An
hard to
average
believe.
household.
It must include property investment as well.
So yeah,
Investment
that's
properties, sorry.
associated with investments such as it is rental properties. Yeah, makes sense. And
Yeah,
shares, rental properties and shares.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the next one is just personal debt. So personal loans make up 3.1% of an Australian household's debt. Commonly used to buy cars, other
3.1.
consumer items.
I think people.
Is that 3.1%?
3.1%.
That's very low. I'm
I would have
surprised.
thought we finance a lot of cars. to be
Yeah, bro. I
honest,
thought a lot of cars would be financed. That's
we,
interesting.
We have a big second-hand market probably as well.
And I don't think people buy many new cars recently. Like,
Oh,
Most
well, it's
cars-
been hard to recently.
Yeah, that's recent. Yeah,
but
like,
doesn't mean they don't have debt.
these figures are like a few years off because ABS don't release them
Yeah,
as
yeah,
frequently.
okay.
So it
Interesting.
might be
But I
2018,
think people
2019.
spend money on a lot on like retarded stuff like phones for starters.
Yeah.
Like everyone I know, back in McDonald's days, this is 6-7 years ago, used to have an iPhone which is like $1,200
Yeah, I
Like
don't
on a plan, you
understand.
mean?
on a plan.
If you're buying it outright, it doesn't count as debt then because you paid. for
Yeah,
money.
but like if you're working in McDonald's, you should not be having a plan which is more than $110 a month. Like, I can't justify that kind of
Yeah.
expenditure a month. And I've done it myself.
Yeah.
Like, for the longest time, I used
Yeah,
to have
I could never do
an
it either.
expensive plan. But now, in hindsight, I have a very shitty tangerine Telstra offshoot plan.
Xiaomi, brother.
Xiaomi.
Yeah, these are the ones where I don't see any, like, it's not a good debt to have. Like, if you're having stupid credit card debts, phone debts, these are just unnecessary
Yeah, yeah,
burdens
yeah,
on
yeah.
you.
The
Afterpay.
mortgage is
Afterpay,
fair
yeah.
enough, especially when interest rates were so low.
Yeah. Plus, you need a house to live in, bro. So, yeah.
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 And even for the investment properties, when interest rates were so low, people were just positively gearing their properties, and it was easy.
Yeah.
Like it was simple. Like
So
that's
it makes sense to have those debts, but like all these unnecessary, like Pakistan, this is a big thing now where people take out like small loans to like start up their business, and it's become like a very murky black market essentially,
yeah.
where what's the daraz or like all these companies which like provide like services where you can place your products, but they give like small loans as well.
Yeah.
And people, you can't afford to pay for food at times, so you're getting all these little
Yeah.
loans out for
Yeah.
that. And there's no like proper background
Let's say
check, all these things.
These loans are fine if you're putting from an investment point of view. When people start taking loans for marriages,
Like pay for their wedding.
That's
wedding
not-
kind of thing,
that's
that
not-
is messed up.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot. I don't know about Australia.
No,
I've
I
heard
think it does happen here as well.
Okay. Well, in Pakistan, the thing is like they don't take out it should be a loan, but
It's
what
a
they do is
borrowing
just
it
borrow
from-
money and then never paid back. And they do it with families like,
Oh, borrow
Or-
money from family.
yeah, it's
Friends.
like, oh, my daughter is getting married and she's the daughter of the whole household, so it's sunnah that you provide for her wedding as well.
I don't-
And
I-
they like guilt you into like this type of thing.
Yeah.
I haven't had that particular guilt trip.
Yeah.
I'm sure that happens.
Yeah.
But I think I've known a fair bit of people that have had weddings with 1,000 people coming in, 750 people coming in.
Yeah.
These people used to work for my dad.
Yeah.
So my dad gave him like a lakh or two, just whatever, just to get the wedding, like, get them started.
Generous man, your dad,
But
bro.
No, it wasn't for their wedding
Yeah.
to have this murg musallam or
Yeah.
like, all this food.
Yeah.
It was just to get them started kind of thing.
Right.
And they end up spending this on
On the wedding.
wedding.
Yeah.
Like, they have a better wedding than we may, bro.
So,
No, yeah, that's one of the problems I think we've talked about in other episodes where setting the standard for weddings is
You're a
like a
culprit,
bad
brother.
thing. I'm a culprit, unfortunately. But setting that standard where your average Joe has to keep up with these massive weddings and stuff like that is
Like now for me,
Especially
in my
with
mind, I'm like,
Desi's.
he's had a wedding at an expensive place. I at least have to pay him back for the
Yeah.
food itself.
I didn't
You
pay
know
for
what?
it, brother.
I never knew this. My sister told me this last night. She said, you know why people don't have like no box gifts written on their
'Cause
cards
they
and
want
stuff?
cash.
They want cash, which can offset
Recoup,
the
yeah.
amount
Yeah.
that you're paying. I was like, oh, I just thought they wanted money.
Yeah,
for
I
other
learned that
things.
last year.
So I was like, okay, makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know it was a thing either until
So, like,
I haven't
say,
gone to much. Many
How much do you
weddings.
think an average person pays like in a gift to like 50, 100 is?
I think I think 100, 200.
Yeah. And then per head, even if it's costing like a 70 per head type
So
event.
you don't make money off it. Like, break even is probably the best.
Yeah,
you
that's
can
what
hope.
I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're just like breaking even, that's all
Yeah.
you are asking for. So, yeah.
But I think you can make profit through a humble Islamic wedding. Just have it.
Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, yeah, give like, what is a humble Islamic wedding?
Like
Just
go to
at
like
the
a
mosque.
community center in Hornsby or whatever. Like probably a
Yeah.
bigger one, let's
Yeah.
say. and get some cheap catering food. Not cheap.
No, but I think the thing is like people want to remember that day and stuff like that. Like if they're spending money on you get photographs or whatever at least
Yeah.
taken. If it's done at a community center, you can't really
And you
show it
spend
to your
money
kids,
on a
bro.
stage, bro. Like,
Yeah.
how much of your wedding do you remember from a not from a memory point of view, but rather than like this hall, the food point of view?
I barely got to eat the food.
Okay, so how much of the set do you remember that you actively reminiscent and think, yeah, this was a nice one to get those flowers in or get that expensive catering done?
Well, lucky for him, he has a second crack at this. So this time, leave all the stupid responsibility you had on yourself to other people, so you can enjoy your day at least, bro.
Bro, he's
Hire
married a-
people. Don't pay them obviously, but like hire people that can take the responsibility of like
No, we had to take
greeting
photos.
people.
No, we had to take photos. I wasn't greeting people. It's because we're taking 50 million photos with everyone that want to take
hire
photos.
bodyguards,
of
bro.
us.
It's just like nah. Let them have their
You got
peace,
two of them, bro.
It
Yeah.
was literally so weird. We're just lined up.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, everyone was just lined up, and we're just taking one photo after the other as if we're celebrities. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway,
Funnily, we didn't take a photo together at your wedding.
I have
unlucky,
no
bro.
pictures of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
This
have
time,
more
bro, this
pictures of
time.
you
This time.
at other people's wedding than at your own wedding. So this time it will be different. Anyway.
There were so many people we thought were your family, and we don't want to like
Yeah.
jump in. So you're like, yeah, right, sweet.
Yeah.
Next time.
Anyway,
Anyway.
what about like
Back to mortgages, bro.
yeah?
Yeah. Go.
What do you guys think the average mortgage taken is in Australia
What
as
does-
of
what
November
does taken
22?
mean?
Like,
Like
loan
average
taken
loan
out by the bank.
taken out.
Let's say-
Average.
Yeah, in
Average-
Sydney, November 22.
Are
So
we
people
talking
make a-
about spread areas like Box Hill, or are we talking
No,
about
just across Sydney.
across Sydney? 1.1 million.
Like people are making down payments and stuff like that. So like 900K at least, bro.
750k.
Oh,
That
decent.
makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if that's the
Is-
initial loan
nah,
taken
I
out.
think that's just for the property itself. Then construction on top of it, it's gonna be around 300 to 400.
No, but
No,
if you're
but they'll
buying a
get a
house,
loan
you're not
for that as
constructing
well.
it. If you're just buying,
Most people do buy land and then build it. From what I know of them,
Okay.
How
then
many
you're
peop-
not. Then you shouldn't be taking out like 700K for that. How much is land?
Land is around 750 to a million, bro, and then through construction is 400k.
So the house value itself.
It's 1.3k to 1.5k
Oh,
average.
mil.
Yeah.
No, okay. Okay, makes
Yeah.
sense.
Because in Box Hill, you can get back in the day, you could
Yeah.
go buy a land for 750k,
Yeah.
700k. Construction will be 400k, 350k. It's 1.1.
But I think going back to what we're talking about, setting the standard of what youth are doing, I think it's also very harmful that the first thing we have to do as youth is buy a house, like in the current market that it's at. Because, you know, if you're spending, like, even in Blacktown or wherever the hell you're buying, people are usually buying 2, 3, 4 bedroom house as their first place. And it's over $1 million easy.
Yeah.
Like it's like 900,000 to like 1.3 mil
Yeah.
they're spending.
It
on
will
their
all be
first house.
always be tricky for like new buyers
Yeah.
because there's far less of new buyers than there are people who already have houses.
Yeah.
So they will always be incentivized to maintain house prices. So like 2/3 of Australians already own a house.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
obviously for them, they
Yeah.
want to see the prices continuously go up.
Yeah.
And 1/3 are, maybe even less than that, are looking to buy new houses, which are young people.
Yeah.
So the system is like rigged
Yeah.
in their favor.
But again, as I've always said, and I always talk with this to Son about this, when your house appreciates 50%, right? And I'm not talking about investment properties. I'm talking about your principal home, right? And you think, oh my God, I've made 500,000. This is great, blah blah blah. And you sell that house and make that 500,000 or whatever. You now have to buy a house in the same echelon as you were just living in because houses have appreciated, because you've got to live somewhere, right?
My theory is if you don't live in a house that you have mortgaged,
Yeah.
you live in a rented house,
Yeah.
and you flipped it out for a 500k net profit.
What do you do with that money?
You invest in because you're not living there.
Yeah.
So you find another property for 1.4, and then look for the next 500k.
No, but if you're just looking for your first house, it's not.
No.
That's not possible.
No, but unless you're seeing that this is a cheap property and cheap area, I'm getting a good price on
Like
it, and you're
there's
flipping
always-
it.
because we always have Sydney's expanding now. There's always going to be good areas that will expand into.
No, but your
greater
average
areas.
person isn't looking for. They're looking for a house that they like. The price isn't the sole pinch point for them.
I think I'm talking from an investing point of view.
Yeah, but I'm talking about for your average Australian.
Like that wants to live in the same property. Like
That-
that's
that's-
buying the property to live
that
in.
gets super excited that the house has gone up 50%.
and they just think like, oh, this is a quick, like they
It-
think it's like they made a profit. And
If they refinance it, then sure. But at the end of the day, you're still paying a shitload on like of repayments and interest anyway. Like I've pulled up stats and we've talked about this as well. So if you take out the 750k loan, right,
Mhm.
which is maybe average, maybe a bit below average in Sydney, right? If I pay for, I work through this 30-year loan term at the current interest rates, so a 2-year fixed rate, which
Yeah.
is what people normally get. If I do that for 5 years, and so on this 750k loan, I will earn, guess how much equity? If I pay, so the repayments.
Across how many years? 30 years.
No. So after 5 years of
5
this
years.
30-year loan, after 5 years, if I'm paying 4,600 a month on a 750k loan, how much equity do you think you'd have after 5 years?
$0.
How would you have $0?
I think you're paying off interest now, but go on.
Well, just give the figure. Well, maths is
Yeah,
off
yeah.
in my head at the moment. Yeah.
So after 5 years of paying,
Mhm.
you've paid $276,000
Sure.
because you're paying 4,600 a month. You have 50k equity in that property after 5 years.
Mm.
$50,000 after paying
So you two pay
almost 6 times
220k.
yeah,
in
270k,
Ah,
276k.
220k is interest then.
Yeah. So 220k in interest, right?
Dismissed.
And if you look at, even if you rent something for $700 per week, again after 5 years, you've paid 180k.
Mm-hmm.
So you've paid 40,000 less interest. So you've saved $40,000, right?
And the property value increasing would probably still be putting you in red though.
Yeah, because it's
Most
only
probably.
yeah,
Yeah.
most likely, yeah. So it's actually in the current market, it's a lot smarter. Again, purely financial perspective, it's a lot smarter to rent than it is to buy
And
it.
$700
currently.
property should be a decent one too.
Yeah, $700 is plenty. Like you could go down to like 400.
That's all. Well, that's what a lot of people are now just thinking of. Like, what's the like? There's just been a tradition where like owning
Yeah.
a property is a thing. Where like they want to change the mindset
Yeah.
of people. Like you can rent out,
Yeah.
but that obviously comes with other issues. Like you could be, you would have to ask to be moved around a lot. You're not going to be
Yeah,
same
yeah.
place.
So that's why I said purely
it's not
financial.
a
Yeah.
sort of you can't settle down
And-
as a family, whatever the case is.
And even
like-
if you decide to go for something cheaper in Sydney,
Yeah.
so you've got like instead of a 750k loan, I was looking at a $500,000 loan
Yeah.
to buy an apartment, a 1 or 2 bedder in Ryde or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But the issue is that then you've got issues with apartment bills in Sydney,
Yeah.
or Australia generally, because our construction industry has low
Yeah.
standards or qualities. Sorry, bro.
Why are you looking at me?
Yeah.
So because our standards are low,
Yeah.
you've got that risk. You've got the risk of apartments not appreciating, possibly depreciating, because
bad neighbors.
well, that, and because land is what appreciates, and you're
Yeah.
buying land with an apartment. So there's so many different like issues as a young person growing up in Sydney of getting a house, and whether you want to sit down for 30 years and pay off a house. At the end of your term for a 750k house, you've probably paid 1.5 or 2
Yeah.
mil. Like it's definitely not worth it in the current market.
And I don't know if it's worth it in other parts of Australia because like
I think
it comes with the downside as well. Like if you're Melbourne makes sense. Like that's where a lot of young
Yeah,
people now
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
I think
And there's-
Brisbane could be a new hub.
Yeah, if they make those the
From
hubs.
an investing point of view. I'm
but
not
the-
saying from a
yeah,
living
Yeah.
livability
Oh yeah, I
point
was
of view.
thinking of a
The
more
other
living
thing is
point
though,
of
as
view. Yeah.
working professionals, like your salaries will be a lot lower in Brisbane than they
Yeah,
will
they
be in
are,
Sydney
yeah.
and
That
Melbourne.
plus,
And
like-
the opportunities.
Yeah, and
Like-
then if you are expected to be working in the city you live, if your job is here and then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
expect
yeah,
to live here,
yeah.
what's the incentive for you?
How
to
far
live
is
there?
Gosford from Sydney?
Like by train?
1.5
train.
hours.
It's like one and like if you catch a fast train, it's like an hour.
Decent.
But if
Yeah.
they improve the infrastructure where like these things where they had this idea where they would connect Melbourne and Sydney or Canberra and Sydney by creating a fast train track which
Yeah, I
connects, and
remember this.
Goulburn could be the central point where people live and then go across. And that's a 50-year plan. Like it's not
Yeah,
going to
a
happen
very long
anytime
plan,
soon.
Yeah.
By the time we die,
Yeah.
this will be starting. So like there's no there's nothing to rely on. So you have to
Yeah.
kind of just finesse your way and like rent if you need to move to a part of the world where like get into a field where like you can work remotely, move to a part of Australia where like you can just live in a cheap property, be at peace with not having to see your family as often, whatever
Yeah.
it is. But yeah, those are the issues we face.
Yeah.
Have you guys considered moving abroad?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Because I
Yeah.
think the more I'll talk to people in the construction industry, the property industry more so, I feel like delusion with buying property
Yeah.
is stupid here.
And they're increasing immigration at the moment as well,
Yeah.
which is going to be massive for rentals and
We're going to be
for.
fighting Indian uncles, bro, to
property.
find these properties, bro.
So it's going to be
Yeah.
it's going to be a very big issue in Australia. Going
What's a
forward.
creative way you figured out you could pay off your debts? Like, have you thought about
I like to
OnlyFans as an option for
no,
yourself?
I like to put my spare coins in a coin jar, and then eventually
Eventually, it will back up.
it'll go to
Yeah.
30,000. I can pay.